Welcome back, everybody, to Inside Lowell, our weekly recap show that we do for you. I don't know, every 6 to 14 days or somewhere thereabouts.
6 to 8.
Yeah, we'll get to a regular schedule, but I am your host, Teddy Panos, joined in studios as always for our recap show by Madame President and one of our insiders here at Inside Lowell, Danielle McFadden. How are you, Bergie?
I am great. Thank you.
Good to have you again this morning. You're looking very Christmassy. Did
I know. I don't know.
Did your calendar lie to you?
I put the red on today, and then I got these really cute earrings they look like Christmas bows, like presents, that you would put on.
Yeah, they kind of do.
They were really cute, so I put them on. But yeah, I should have waited a week for this.
It does look really Christmassy. You match our poinsettias out there.
I do, that we're going to keep alive.
We hope.
There's been many text messages about how to keep these things alive. I've been listening to Christmas music. I started a few days ago. I couldn't help myself.
You're one of those?
Well, Milo loves Christmas, and he was just like, can we please listen to Rocking Around the Christmas Tree? And I'm like, okay. And then it just kind of spiraled from there.
I'm dumping on you, but this morning on the way to school, Ari, Ruby, and I were singing Must Be Santa Claus in the car.
All right.
So I promised them I would do that last night. So, yeah, we're getting close to Christmas. We're really close to Thanksgiving. If you're watching this on Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday will be Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving holiday. A lot of great stuff coming up at Inside Lowell, including live broadcasts from the City of Lights parade on Saturday, which we're this close to getting cemented technically. So we'll get to the definitive and final word on that. But a lot of other great stuff going on, and we're going to recap all of it for you in this next, half hour to 45 minutes or so. Of course, as always, we want to thank our sponsors. You can see their logos scrolling on your computer screen there, underneath Danielle there. But as always, we thank them for being our founding sponsors and hopping on board here with our broadcast Spectacle Live, the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, IBEW 2321, our good friend Lee Gitcher. Speaking of good friends, Real Estate Ray Booton is one of our sponsors, as is Mike Colley from Lowell Lock and Key 24-hour service. Stellar Web Studios, the web design company that designed InsideLowell.com. The Mill City Festival Fund, which brings you some great events here in the city of Lowell, including the upcoming City of Lights Parade. Phil Tebow Architect, Unitas Community Center on Middlesex Street in downtown Lowell, the Merrimack Valley Wi-Fi Pros, Stone's Hospitality Group, and Christopher's Towing. If you'd like to become a sponsor of Inside Lowell, get in there. You only got about a month and a half to take advantage of our special advertising rates, which, by the way, are going up after the new year because we're going to tell you why in a couple of minutes with our following out there. But what you want to do is you want to send an email, sales@InsideLowell.com, or send one directly to me, Teddy Panos, at InsideLowell.com. And there is our famed whiteboard. Everybody was making fun of my penmanship, my kind of blah writing. So we threw a logo in there to take attention away from it.
It definitely looks better, but I'm snazzing that up before you go live tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Tomorrow morning we're doing a live show, and a famous pre-Thanksgiving show that Batch, Asa, and I used to do, where we'd play Family Feud. We've surveyed 100 Lowellians and got their responses to certain questions. So we're gonna have a little fun tomorrow morning. That's at 10 a.m. live. Of course, if you're watching this on tape, you'll be able to watch that one at your own convenience as well. All of our podcasts are on our website for eternity, between our website and our YouTube channel. But this, of course, is our still as yet to be named weekly recap show. We did get a suggestion over the weekend about our name.
It was a good suggestion, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
It was so good.
Do you remember?
Wasn't it Inside Recap or something?
It was from Matt LaLasher.
Yeah, Matt LaLasher, one of our insiders.
I'm going to look up the text from him because I really liked that. Let me see. Mill City Minute.
Oh, Mill City Minutes, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
And if you notice, I did away with my Mill City musings this week and just went with something else. Because we don't want to have too many Mill City M's in our names. You know?
But I do like the Mill City Minute.
I like Meal City Minute as well. But
shout out to Matt.
yeah, shout out to Matt LaLatcher. Keep your suggestions coming in for what we should name this podcast.
This morning I did text you and say, what time are we recording Bergie and the Greek Freak?
Bergie and the Greek Freak. We should put that up as one of our poll questions, by the way, to name it.
You know that.
That'll be one of the choices.
You know that's what people are going to choose.
And then we'll just rig the election. So we talked about the City of Lights Parade. You're looking at your two hosts
I'm so
right
excited.
here, your two MCs for the City of Lights Parade. Danielle McFadden and I will be on the reviewing stand on Saturday evening, somewhere around 4:30 as the floats start to depart Jackson Street and make their way down Central, Merrimack, and eventually to the reviewing stand at Lowell City Hall, where Santa Claus will be there as well.
Awesome.
Your kids looking forward to it?
Yes, yeah. It's always a great event.
It's fun. It's fun. And we're going to, hopefully we'll be streaming it live on our website, our YouTube channel, and we're even going to try to work in the Facebook Live component.
That is what I've been really pushing for, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, you have definitely been pushing. We've got a great week here at Inside Lowell.
Every week is a great week.
That is true.
On cue.
That is 100% true. We've reached a couple of milestones in terms of the number of people who are viewing our content, both on the website and social media. What are we up to now on the website?
Over 8,000 unique users in less than a month.
Unique users coming from all over the planet.
Yes, we finally got Greece.
We finally got one person from Greece, probably a relative of mine.
That's okay. The goal was to get the person from Greece.
That's right. Or who knows, an American visiting for a little while. But we've got 36 different countries where people have linked to our website, gone on to read some piece or another. I did get a little insight into that. Ironically, came from my sister-in-law, who has a lot of friends in the military. But she shares some of the stuff. So she's like, oh yeah, I got a buddy who's stationed in Hungary, and sure enough, we both went through the Google Analytics on the website, and that was it. But we're all everywhere from Aruba to Thailand and you name it. It's great. But 8.1 thousand unique individuals have visited Inside Lowell, and we haven't even gotten started yet. We're not even at a month yet.
Arguably.
You're gonna say that in English for our listeners?
Arguably, you are the most unique user on the planet. It would have been way better if I knew how to say arguably. Arguably.
You butchered your line. You had it. It was teed up for you. Just take a shot.
Kicking myself.
And you blew it. Our Facebook numbers also surpassed a milestone this week.
Yes.
30,000 plus.
You need the horn. I'm always cueing you to get the horn out.
Here's the horn. Here's the horn. Right. Let's get. I always forget. I'm so busy trying to make sure.
Mess today. Hot Mess Express.
You're definitely taking a tumble today.
Oh
Be careful
walking. My mom every day now is like I was on the phone with her. She goes, "Do not text and walk. You are going to hurt yourself." Like, she reminds me to be careful when I'm walking now because of last week.
Yeah, you told everybody about your proclivity for falling, and yet you forgot your most
oh my gosh,
damaging and arguably embarrassing
folk
fall.
festival weekend. It was the year after Zoe was born, so she wasn't even one yet, and we're a partner of the Lowell Folk Festival, so I was heading down there to help out. And it had rained out, but it wasn't raining any longer, and I'm walking up my back steps, which are wood, and I had flip-flops on, and I fell, and I backwards hurt so bad. So everybody's like, you're just going to be sore. You fell. And this goes on for like a week where I'm in like a lot of pain. I get an x-ray. I broke my back. A piece of my vertebrae completely cracked off. It's just floating now in my back. So I couldn't pick up Zoe for a month. And I broke my back.
You either conveniently forgot to mention that last week.
No, I totally forgot, which is crazy. I mean, that's the fall of all falls. I have no problem with just putting it all out there. You know that.
That's all right. I'm going to top you with embarrassing stories.
Yes, well, yes.
If you can't laugh at yourself, who are you going to laugh at? Our top articles for the week, Frank and McCabe's original "Can I Be Frank" article continues to lead, but we had a number of other contributions in the last week alone that, once they've kind of sat there for a couple of weeks and built their audience as well, they're going to start to get up there.
So the number 6 is what I'm most excited about, but I'll go through the top 10. So we had Frank, "Can I Be Frank?" and we're back. So kudos to Frank. I mean, what a following. He's just steady on top.
And he, by the way, Frank also plans to do his first Can I Be Frank podcast at some point after Thanksgiving. So we're going to get him in this studio as well.
Oh, that'll be great. He used to have a radio show, and it was so much fun to listen to him. Number 2 was the first glimpse at the Jack Kerouac Center. Number 3, Lowell Lingo.
Yeah, give yourself
horn for myself.
Toot your own horn there,
I'm
Bertie.
tooting my own horn. I can't speak, but I can toot my horn.
Toot a horn.
Number 4, Lowell's best sandwich. These are the things people want to feel connected to the community, and they want to talk about the community and the things that they love about Lowell.
Well,
this is a perfect example of it.
People don't like to get into. I learned that from my radio career. That there's a certain number of people in the city, and basically it's your primary voters, 5,000 of them. The bubble, as Jack Mitchell, one of our insiders, calls them, they care about the politics, the news, the controversy. Everybody else kind of, they pay attention, but they're not, they're not going to get engaged in it. But you talk about the best sandwich, or you talk about Chinese food, as we've had, and before you know it, everybody has a favorite sandwich. Everybody has a favorite Chinese cocktail or food item or whatnot. So, and that's the kind of stuff you're seeing on Inside Lowell, it looks like.
Wait until you read my best vegan meals in Lowell. I'll work on that.
Yeah,
everybody's clamoring to read that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one, I think.
Number 5, Christian Hill deserves neighborhood status. So Batch is on the list a couple of times.
That's our buddy Batch. And by the way, Batch also had a posting about why Thanksgiving is the best holiday. That is a must read. If you haven't read that yet, get to our website, InsideLowell.com, and check it out.
He includes Folk Fest as one of the top holidays.
And Super Bowl Sunday and the Old Court Golf Tournament, I believe, was one of them as well.
All right,
Batch has his own unique list.
He does. Number 6, which I'm most excited about, was the podcast archive.
Yeah.
That's awesome. People are going and checking them out. Yeah. Number 7 is Frank again.
The McCabe guy.
Food review, Chinese food.
Yeah. Frank's going to have to get a raise if he keeps
I want to know how he says food.
Oh, he gets into food.
No, but how do you eat food like that? Okay.
Really, food. As I was actually loading that on the website that Sunday, my wife Riley and I were having a discussion about how many O's is proper. To get you, she said, I think they get the point with 3 because I had 6 of them on there. I'm like, you're right. So I always listen to her.
I think there was 4, but there's actually 5 in this email because I had the same thing. I was counting the O's to make sure that it was written the right way because I thought I was a perfectionist, but clearly I'm not because there's an extra O in there.
We'll forgive you.
Number 8, a Highlands girl in Pawtuckettville. Number 9, the childhood. My kids will never know. This is purely because of quantity, not quality, that I'm on the list 3 times.
I don't know. I've written, well, no, I haven't written as many things as you. I've done some newsy type things, but I'm not on that list. My feelings are hurt. I'm like this was my brainstorm. Right? And
move over, Teddy.
Boy, well, as we keep finding out, there's, some people who aren't exactly fans of our writing.
I think everybody is a fan.
That's all right. You don't have to like us, but you're going to read us and listen to us.
Like us, hate us, read us.
Unless you don't want to be informed.
And number 10 is Batch's breeder tax.
Batch's breeder tax.
Yes.
There we go again. All right. Yeah. So thank you to everybody for reading our stuff. We got a lot of new stuff up this week that we'll probably be talking about next week with the comments. Our first contribution from Shumita Acharya, one of our insiders, who has her own video production company, Voices Now Studio. She did a little video feature on a couple of local artists who were over at Gallery Z through, I believe it was the month of October or most of October, and they talked about their art. My not Moonbat friends really got a chuckle out of that. They're like, Teddy, you really posted that? I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Little something for everybody. The day before, I trashed the new textile ban in the trash. One day you put something else. We get a little something for everybody.
It's so true. I was at a meeting yesterday, and the superintendent of schools, Joel Boyd, was there, and he was saying that his wife loves the website.
Why wouldn't she?
Because they moved to the area and that there's so many just positive things. And that's the whole thing. It's about feeling that connection to the community. And I think Inside Lowell does that really well.
Has she seen the podcast where Batch is just dumping all over the school department? Oh, no.
I didn't ask specifically about that.
Mrs. Boyd, you might want to check that one out. But listen, if you love it, you might agree with maybe she agrees.
Maybe she just wanted to find the best sandwich in Lowell.
That's true. That could be it. Or the best Chinese food in Lowell. Hey, a couple of fun things. you folks kind of see this at home. Let's see if I can get this. The community values flyer. Cute kids in the.
And the rip and the wrinkles are my fault.
Yeah, this one too. Oh yeah, this did go to your house out there in Pawtucketville. But thank you.
God's country.
But right on the inside of it, if you got this at your house, it kind of like right in the centerfold, look across the top there. Inside Lowell. We've hit the big time.
Yes.
The Community Values Holiday 2022 edition. And there we are.
Wait until Holiday 23. Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be wild.
So we're everywhere. We're also one of those sponsors of the City of Lights parade.
Excited.
So if you've seen the ads for that and the banners, there you'll notice our little logo out there with all the other great community partners who have been a part of that. But you know what? They can do their own podcast to toot their own horns. This is our website. This is our podcast. We're tooting our own horns.
You should not give me this, by the way. Like, I should not be allowed to have that.
You are an addict. It gets addictive. You should try the gratuitous plug bell. Every time we say Chamber of Commerce or Athenian Corner.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. All right.
So also something that we do during our weekly recap segment here is we like to bring you some of the comments, some of the interactions, the engagement, as we like to call it. A lot of folks chiming in, as we said, about a variety of things. One of the things that I found really interesting was we broke the news earlier last week that Dave Keene had been promoted. We didn't do this on the weekly recap last week. I think I did it on my podcast. So forgive me, my memory sucks.
Don't worry. I'm a little older than you. I'll put you in your place if I need to.
Thank you. Somebody needs to. But Dave Keene, longtime fire lieutenant, union representative in the City of Lowell Fire Department, was promoted to, the title is assistant to the chief. You know, like I'm always thinking of The Office, like Dwight Schrute needed an assistant to the assistant to the. But basically, Dave Keene is now the deputy fire chief number 2 in line to head that department if and when Phil Sharon leaves the post as chief. I mean, he will at some point. If he leaves before Dave, chances are you're looking at your new fire chief. But it was funny because we put that out on our social media. And you want to follow Inside Lowell on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, because that's the quickest way for us to get our breaking news out there. And we put it out, I'd say like 10 o'clock one night. And I remember waking up the next morning and I had a little back and forth with somebody who was like, wait, official source? And, it drives me nuts when people say that official.
You check your stuff. You're not going to put something out there through hearsay.
That's and that's the thing. It ticks me off because citizen journalism is great, but professional citizen journalism is even better. And I don't, not to sound arrogant here and stuff, but I've been doing this for over 3 decades and I know the city pretty well and I've got some connections. So when I put something out there, it's probably going to be true. It's been double, triple checked, maybe more. Maybe I've even talked to the person themselves. You never know. But the person official source, so me being a wise ass, I put hashtag InsideLowell as a response. And the person came back and that's very funny, but I've been a firefighter for X number of years. This is the first I'm hearing about it. I'm like, well, it's, that's the point of news media, is to give you stories that for some reason or another are being kept quiet for a little bit, or this one, not so much that it was being kept quiet, but the decision had literally been made, I'd say a couple of hours before, or it started to circulate a couple of hours before. But I'm laughing because last night, Dave Keene happened to pop up on my LinkedIn weekly recap as, congratulate, it lists a whole bunch of people on their new position. And there's Dave Keene putting his promotion up there on LinkedIn. Is that an official enough source for you out there? Longtime firefighter in Lowell? Follow Inside Lowell, because that's where you get the stories, the inside stories, fast, and you get them first. Patricia Langlois says, congratulations to Dave. We got a ton of feedback, especially on Facebook, about people, former Lowell Police Chief, now Vogue School Committee member from Dunstable, Kelly Richardson. A lot of people happy about this move. Some people unhappy, but this is kind of a sleeper, as we talked about in the Pod Squad podcast last week that's up there, I think dated November 15th. And you can check it out. There's been a little controversy about overtime budgets and the budget for the fire department. And putting Dave Keene in that spot was a brilliant stroke, I think, by the fire chief and the city manager, who my understanding has kind of made that decision in conjunction. But, when you're going to kind of crack down on some overtime spending, you're naturally going to get some pushback, right, from the unions.
Absolutely.
You put a guy into management who's a longtime, well-respected union guy, not just heading the local firefighters union in Lowell, but this district and statewide. Dave Keene has experience and has earned his place in some respect there. We're losing Danielle. Just whatever you do, do not fall. But we got this Dave Keene story is a story that you will want to watch as you go forward with the Lowell City Council. And you kind of see the way they start to address some of these budget items, especially next year come budget time, when they start kind of formulating it early in the spring and present it to be in place by July 1st. We also had a great piece on InsideLowell.com by former state senator Steve Panagiotakis, writing a kind of a memoir, but he took a speech that he made at a rededication ceremony of a statue in the Lowell City Hall Plaza, JFK Plaza, of Officer Chris Russis, who was killed in the line of duty trying to stop a bank robbery back in the 70s. A very touching speech that Steve gave on that day, and he reworked it a little bit into an article that, by the way, the Lowell Police put out there as well, because they too were moved and honoring one of their own who gave his life in the line of duty and to protect the city. Stephanie Callery writes on InsideLowell.com, very well said. I knew that officer and he was a wonderful man. The day he was shot is always stuck in my mind. It was very sad and senseless and a tremendous loss for his family and our community. Rest in peace, Officer Russis. I know for me, being a young kid, I was probably about 12, 13 years old at the time, but growing up in the Greek community, you kind of looked up to folks who were in government or in a police department or in kind of they achieved a certain status. And Officer Russis was one of those gentlemen. I know that kind of hit my home, my family, very hard and very personally. Mike Miles, another person who this hurt personally, Mike Miles was a fellow officer with Officer Russis on the Lowell Police Department. He read the article. He chimed in on InsideLowell.com, writes, I arrived in the communication room at the Lowell Police Department 4:30 p.m. And when I arrived, I was informed there had been a shooting and a police officer was shot, Officer Russis. Brian McMahon and I were working for CETA in the communications room, and this was a moment frozen in time for 45 years. I didn't know Officer Russis personally, but he was always friendly and cordial, a real gentleman and a cop's cop. I was able to serve 35 years on the LPD, and I worked with some incredibly brave and dedicated men and women. Every time I pass the monument statue of Officer Russis guiding a young boy, I say a silent prayer, as I did today when I went to pick up a Lowell Police Department veteran's hoodie. God bless the Rich's family, and especially Stephen, who keeps his memory alive. Welcome back.
Thank you.
We're not ready to lose you yet,
Oh my God.
Kind of you accident prone.
No, I just had a tickle in my throat and I could feel it coming on. And you're talking, my eyes started to water, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? And I just lost it.
That was me the night of the Rodney Elliott Carla Miller debate. I just started hacking away.
Like, what do you do?
Like, nothing. You just
we should have like
you plow
lozenges or something. I'm gonna get some.
Or a spit bucket off on the side or something.
I'm a lady.
One of I was kind of joking about the lack of feedback of my columns. It could be because I'm always a jerk when I write my things. But I wrote a piece about the textile ban. You can no longer throw your clothing, bedding, really anything else into the trash.
What are you supposed to do with it?
Well, that was the question I asked. Where am I going to put my boxers and my dirty socks with the holes in them now?
That was a great picture, by the way, of the
The dirty socks. I had one that was even grosser. I'm like, that's too much.
I know, it was like...
So I went back to a different one. But plus that was of my own socks and feet. I'm just kidding. That was not me. But Steve O'Connor, who has actually contributed, my favorite local author, wrote a while back, I saw very long piles of trash piled up in the parking lot of Walmart in Tewksbury. Old mattresses, furniture, TVs, garbage bags. I'm afraid a lot of this stuff will end up in the local parking lots and parks. That's what's going to happen. That's one of the unintended consequences of this. You tell people you can't throw this in the trash, you can't throw that in the trash. And before you know it, everything turns into a trash bucket, and it's usually the first street dumping site up in Centerville, Christian Hill, or somewhere
who's going to
else.
actually be the person to throw their dirty underwear in a parking lot?
Have you? You would be amazed.
I believe in the goodness of humanity.
You do. Of course, for you, maybe it's not a challenge to get to send your stuff there. But let me ask you this. The idea is, well, let's give our stuff, our old clothing, our old textiles, let's give them to these nonprofits that will use them and distribute them to people who need them. Great. When you've got, Danielle's dress will make a wonderful item on some lady in the future, or maybe my gray shirt here will on some fat man in the future in need of a shirt. What about my underwear? Who the bleep wants my boxers? Who the bleep wants my socks? And, where I grew up, and I pointed this out in the article in the Acre, you didn't just toss clothing because a new fashion trend came about. I would wear we called them dungarees back in the 70s. I would wear them till they got a hole in them or a rip. And even then, beyond that, until they were embarrassing.
I was going to say, which is on trend now.
Who am I giving that to now?
Nobody.
Right? And they'll tell you, oh, well, soiled stuff you can still throw away or use as cleaning rags. As somebody who's got a closet full of cleaning rags, I can tell you they accumulate pretty quickly. And, again.
You're not going to use your underwear as a cleaning rag.
I do use my old T-shirts, but anyway, once. And then again, you throw them away. But, Kim Scott, Lowell City Councilor, actually chimed in on this article because I know I can get the city councilors to pay attention to the stupid things I say. Kim writes, clothing that is soiled is excluded from the ban, and rag material is accepted at the bins at every school in the city. We need a good education campaign on recycling. You been by those bins in the city? Remember the one they had down along the Merrimack? Or there was one, I think, in the Highlands near was it the Daly School or the Bailey School parking lot?
I never knew that there was a bin.
Yeah. You get a city of 120,000 people to start dropping these things off at the bins. You don't have bins big enough or emptied frequently enough to handle this. How about we just throw it in the trash? How about we just treat our trash like trash? Burn it. Use it as a landfill. Use it to fill the big dig or the big fill or whatever. Send it into space on a rocket ship. I don't care. But this is how, cities start to get dirty and disease. And rest assured, if you click the link in the article that I put, they're also now starting to look at food disposal. And they start with, certain restrictions on commercial food waste. But the master plan, the Department of Environmental Protection's master plan specifically talks about residences as well. They're going to start looking at how many chicken wing bones you throw in your trash.
Not an issue for me. Got no chicken wing bones.
How about the tofu? What's the proper way to dispose of tofu?
You eat
Danielle, it. You eat it. Yeah.
Sorry, I need a tissue.
What if you cook too much? More commentary regarding the socking it to the taxpayer column. Sue in Florida. Yeah, former Lowell / Drake kid writing from Florida. Really good article and some key points were made. Thanks for breaking it down to help us understand the real impact. There's a lot to eat about Lowell. Scott Plath from
There's a lot to eat about Lowell, including tofu.
Talked about all the great food that is available and the ethnic food in Lowell, which really sets us apart. As I spent yesterday at the Via Thai restaurant, running into our good friend, St. Rep Vanna Howard. I'm sorry, Vanna Howard.
Yes.
By the way, I got to make sure I pronounce her name properly. We love to read all about how our hashtag Lowell Eats community is top notch, says Joe Carrero, owner of one of those places
El Potro.
that we love, El Potro. And we lead the way with diversity, taste, and culture. Lowell certainly does. Lowell is a great city to
Lowell's an
dine
amazing
in.
city.
If you like to try unique ethnic things that are really good and quite frankly priced for a Lowellia, not like some of these fancy schmancy places you have to go to the ritzy burbs for, Lowell is great.
Tasty dumplings, General Tso tofu. It's like my go-to meal. It's so good.
General Tso's tofu.
So good.
You know how to ruin even a tasty dish.
I don't ruin anything,
So
Teddy.
healthy. Kellyanne chiming in about Batch is the real holiday of holidays is upon us. That's where Batch talks about the wonders of the Thanksgiving 5-day celebration. Not just the one day. Says Thanksgiving is by far the best holiday, Kellyanne writes. She agrees with Batch. Lots of laughs, food, drinks, and family. Happy Thanksgiving to Batch. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody else. My favorite holiday, too.
It's a great holiday.
Food, family, football, fun.
Christmas
else?
music.
Yeah, just ruined it right there.
Tofurkey.
Thank you to everybody who checked us out on the website, InsideLowell.com. We love the fact that you engage with us, you interact with us either on the website or through our social media pages. And we hope you don't mind, but we're going to read some of those comments every now and then here on our weekly recap at Inside Lowell. What else we got for fun? What do we got for fun, goofy stuff?
You're up.
You want me to tell you all about my jeans? I wore them today, by the way.
You do you.
After we dumped on Danielle last week for tripping and falling outside in the hallway.
And then I just had a total attack.
And after we laugh at you next week for almost choking live.
It wasn't a choke,
podcast.
it was a tickle. It had nothing to do with that. It was a tickle. Now my nose is running, and I can't say arguably.
We're going to have to call this segment the Hot Mess Express.
It is. If I'm here, you will likely have stories.
You are a hot mess and an express, but unfortunately, I too am a hot mess because the day after we made fun of Danielle, I happened to decide I'm going to break out a pair of jeans that my beautiful bride, Riley, purchased from me. Jeans that had buttons in place of a zipper.
Why?
So at first I'm like, all right, maybe not. Maybe that's a thing that, it's trendy. Maybe young people are doing it. Why somebody would want to show off buttons instead of the flap that covers the zipper or whatever. I didn't know until I tried to put the pants on that morning. And I realized, the buttons aren't on the outside. They're not visible. The buttons are on the inside. They're intended to be hidden where the zipper usually is, except they're impossible to button and unbutton. So I'm going to give you folks a little.
So the benefit of that is that your fly won't, the zipper won't go down.
So I by the way, I'm not going to expose myself here, Danielle. But as you can see, the flap covers it up. That's where the zipper would be, but there are literally buttons there. Okay, you can see them. Do you know? You can look back, Danielle, and say
what is happening?
It's the web. We can goof off, but. I couldn't button these buttons. For some reason, they didn't fit through the buttonhole. And I was struggling. And now I've got to get the kids ready for school. Riley is getting ready for work. And she's in the bathroom. I'm like, Riley, I can't button these. She's like, what's wrong with you? She's like, making fun of me. She's like, you're an old man. You can't even button a pair of jeans. No, these things, they don't fit through the buttonhole. They're possible. So, of course, Riley comes over and decides she's going to start buttoning my pants for me, like 4 buttons, at which point Ari kind of walks in wondering, hey, what's going on? Walks into mommy, buttoning daddy around the fly area. I'm like, that poor kid's going to
remember that forever.
Traumatized. But short story long, she had a hard time doing it. We finally get it done. The top button, which is easy to do, I put in place. She says to me, what are you going to do when you have to go to the bathroom? I'm like, I'm never going to get things unbuttoned in time, especially if I push it close. And at my age, I'm about to be 57. Sometimes it sneaks up on you and, you got to go. And I don't have time to do the unbuttoning of the buttons that barely fit in the buttonholes. So I basically turned into my son. I learned something from my 5-year-old. Just undo the top button and then pull them down. And that's how I spent my day that day, going to the bathroom.
That's how you're going to spend your day today.
Like my son. And that is how I'm going to spend my day today.
Were you able to button them yourself today?
I did button them myself today.
Out like
They might have stretched out just a tad, so it could be improving. But the question is, and I certainly don't have the right answer, and apparently you don't either, and you're relatively fashionable, right?
Not when it comes to pants.
No, that's true. You never wear pants. Anybody out there who's fashionable about pants, what's the purpose of buttons in place of the zipper?
I think it's so that the fly, like sometimes your fly comes down, like sometimes your zipper, or like have you ever said to somebody, Superman's flying low? Superman can't fly low if you have a button fly.
Well, okay, but I don't know who would be like the button superhero? Batman? Like Batman didn't put it on his utility belt. I don't know.
I don't think there is a button superhero.
But I could almost understand that if it was a fashion statement and you had buttons displayed, that kind of makes sense to me. But if the button is hidden, again,
I think that
Danielle, if the button is hidden, see, the button is hidden.
I think that
there's no point to them. There's no point to them.
I think that Riley bought those on like trickyourhusband.com or something.
I really think she's
like
trying to
mess with your husband.net.
Definitely. She does. She secretly hates me, and she decided she's going to embarrass me.
She just wants like a little insight into the future, how it's going to be like to take care of you.
I know, Ari, that's going to be your mother 30 years from now, helping Daddy put his Velcro pants and sneakers.
Sweatpants. It's just going to be sweatpants.
Yeah, that's true.
And you're going to need like...
honey, Merry Christmas. Another pair of sweatpants. So sweet.
These ones have pockets. I can put my clicker in there.
Wait, what's in that? Oh, the adult depends. Oh. Yeah.
These sweatpants make my butt look big.
I have no butt, so my gut looks big, but not my butt. By the way, anybody out there know how to properly care for a poinsettia? Danielle and I have a dilemma here in the office.
It's a significant dilemma.
It's a significant dilemma.
Yeah.
Our landlord loves us. The
Shout out
Gloskeys,
to Dave and Gina.
Dave and Gina. I know Dave watches all our stuff, so Dave, thank you. We love the poinsettias, all 5 of them.
We got 2, and then he brought 3 more up for when we have our InsideLowell launch party, and said, just bring them down when you're done. The hallway will be decorated. Don't kill them. And the only thing that I've been hearing, like echoing in my brain for a week, is like, don't kill them. Don't kill them. I'm like, oh my.
Don't kill the poinsettias, our landlord said. And by the way, they're beautiful.
They are.
And I did water them yesterday for the first time, hopefully not too late. But all I know, I'm like, Danielle, do you know how to properly take care of a poinsettia? Because I don't.
I don't even know how to properly take care of myself.
That's true. You exactly. I can't button my own pants, so I'm certainly not going to be able to.
I fall, I cough, I can't pronounce words.
How am I going to keep a poinsettia alive for 2 more weeks, plus then leading into the Christmas season? Not a chance. These things are dead. I knew enough to move them close to the window.
Yes, yeah.
But then, like, well, how often do you water them?
You're actually quite a bit more inept at actually taking care of them than I am.
Well, yeah, because I actually made the effort. You just ignored them. You were just sitting there. They were still, as of yesterday, they were still wrapped up in the cellophane that they came in from the florist. So I undid them. I watered them. I had to Google search, how do you properly care for a poinsettia, which I've learned is spelled poinsettia. So why is the I there if you're not going to say it?
Have you ever had the drink, the poinsettia? It's like champagne, a little bit of cranberry juice, put some berries in it. Yeah,
I'm not a big champagne person.
It's a lovely little
I only
drink.
drank champagne on my wedding days. And okay, some special occasions, but we could use, if there's somebody out there in our listening audience who knows how to properly take care of poinsettias, we'd love you to leave some feedback on this podcast page or on our YouTube channel where you can watch it as well. Give us some tips, because all I know is water about once a week or when the soil gets dry.
How do you know if the soil gets dry?
You got to water
That's a
it.
joke. I tried to say it with a straight face, and I was like, I can't actually come off as being
And here
mean.
I thought I was going to inform you. You were just joshing with me like my wife does. So about once a week, which for the record is how I used to take care of my mom's when she would go away every New Year. After New Year's, my mother and father would go to Florida for a month and a half, 2 months. And my one task was to bring in the mail and to make sure her poinsettias didn't die. And they always died. But I watered them once a week.
Okay, so that would tell you to water them more than once a week, but also how long are they supposed to stay alive for? I thought they were a holiday plant. And then what do you do with all of them? Then the landfill is just full of dead poinsettias. You just toss them overboard.
You throw them with my boxers in the Goodwill bin.
And then you have his boxers hanging off of the dead poinsettias. Not ours though. Ours are not going to be dead.
Sure they won't. David?
They won't.
If you're watching, big mistake. Danielle and I have brown thumbs. We cannot do anything for ourselves. If you happen to come back to visit the executive building, just pop on in and make sure.
Bring a little fertilizer.
Bring a little fertilizer. Bring a little water.
I'll sing to them. I can talk to them and sing to them.
But here's the other problem I ran into yesterday. So when I was reading how you take care of them, you bring them over to the sink and you put a ton of water in there, and then you let the water drain. And then you move the poinsettia back.
I've heard that about other plants too.
Which is great. And sure enough, it drains. But we got 5 of them. The sink only fits one.
It's a lot of work. So I'm not used to working.
Exactly. So yesterday I was able to do 4 of them, but the 5th one had to wait to get watered this morning.
Did it get watered yet?
It's watered.
Wow,
it's still
thank you.
Yeah, so we're good for I think a week. But if you happen to come back to the office during the Thanksgiving weekend, because I don't plan to, but if you do, just throw a little water in there just to.
Maybe we should take them with us to the City of Lights. We can decorate the stand with our poinsettias. We could do a poinsettia march.
I like it. Maybe that could be our float, the InsideLowell float. Just put a bunch of poinsettias in it.
Can we drink poinsettias too?
And drink the poinsettia cocktails.
All right, I like it.
Hey, before we say goodbye, we always talk about our kids.
Yeah.
We always use this weekly recap to talk about our kids. And by the way, you're youngest. All your kids are great. Zoe and Landry, who was the hit of the folk festival. But I have to tell you, Milo has skyrocketed up the charts of my favorite.
He's really
McFadden
hilarious.
children
He is
right now.
Hilarious.
It could be because he's the same age as my son, but this kid is brilliant. This kid is I joke about you ruling the world someday. This kid is gonna rule the world. He's phenomenal. I don't think his dad thinks he's as funny though after this story.
So Adam comes into the room and the kids had YouTube on and, they watch crazy things.
My kids watch it all day long.
So they're watching something called Family Fudge. And it's this woman who homeschools her kids. And she talks about their routine. And when they go to Disney, she talks about how they plan out their trips. And then she does these lunches. So they're watching her make themed lunches because they know that they'll never get that from their own mother. But that's an aside. And
nothing that has non-vegan stuff in it.
Well, they have non-vegan stuff. So Adam comes in the room and he's like, why are you guys watching this? You're spending your lives watching other people live their lives. Why are you watching other people?
Which is exactly what YouTube is. Adam is 100% right about that. My kids are watching Blippi or other people play video games instead of playing video games. So he makes a very valid point.
But so
except Milo's a little smarter than Adam and I am.
Oh, really? What about sports? Do you watch sports? Is that watching other people do something?
And
mic drop.
Milo, you're 100% right. I can't tell you how much of my life I've spent watching other people play sports. Or, I don't know, other people make me laugh on Seinfeld and The Office. Or other people report on the news that other people
If you're watching TV, you're basically watching other people do things.
Leave it to a 5-year-old to educate us. He's right. He's 100% right.
He is hilarious. Should I tell my other story about him? I wasn't going to, but so
go ahead. We thoroughly embarrass our families as is. Why not?
So I told them the other day we signed him up for this after school program to do sports and stuff, gym and I don't know. So I'm like, oh Milo, I signed you up. You're gonna go to the gym after school. And he looks at me, takes a piece of paper, and he's learning how to spell phonetically. He's in kindergarten. I'm sorry, my nose is running, and I'm just gonna keep it real because So he writes on a piece of paper, F-U-C-N. And he writes it and he slides it over to me. Doesn't say a word. I'm not going to say it.
F no.
Yeah.
Is what he was basically saying. Yep.
Effing is what he was saying. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right. So then I saw his kindergarten teacher. Next day, I'm like, Milo's learning how to spell phonetically. Look what he's writing.
So, Ari, you got to step up your game, telling your aunt to calm her female anatomy parts.
It's nothing compared to what's happening in my house.
Milo's top
Yeah,
check.
yes.
You got to get there even further.
But what Ari needs to do is start learning how to write love notes. Keep up with all the girls in his class.
Ari apparently is on the receiving end. We talked about this 2 podcasts ago, but Ari received yet another, and these are phenomenally deep. These kindergarten girls.
Oh my gosh, that picture was amazing.
Write. They draw some great pictures, but I love you. We'll leave the name of the student out there, and then I love you too.
Claire is what we use. It's always Claire.
That's right. I love you, Claire, and I love you too, Ari. So she was literally writing out the conversation that Ari was going to be having with her, except Ari, and he just brings it. He goes, "I'm like, Ari,
read this."
I'm like, Ari, what's this? Oh, just another love note from Claire." From Claire. I'm like, okay, I will put that one on the refrigerator too. I don't know what I'm going to need to build an addition for first, my son's love notes or my dirty socks and boxers as cleaning rags.
I don't know. I mean, you could safely put the love notes in a shoebox. Don't put your dirty underwear in a shoebox and save it.
Shoebox?
At
the rate, this kid's on like 5 or 6 love notes now.
like a Shaquille O'Neal shoebox.
Yeah, we're going to...
A Shaq style.
We're going to need a bigger shoebox at the rate this kid's going. But the final story we're going to give to Zoe, who made you cringe
in
line at the store.
Zoe is convinced that I'm famous. She will tell people that I'm famous. We'll be at the store and we'll be in a checkout line and she'll go, oh, this is my mother. She's famous. She runs the Chamber of Commerce. So we're at Target the other day and we're doing the self-checkout and there's the kid that, monitors the checkout if you need help and all that. And she was going to 2 birthday parties. So she had 2 of the same gifts. So we're scanning the items. She's like, I have 2 birthday parties to go to. These are for my friends. And she's making conversation and the kid's like, oh, cool. And then the guy behind us starts getting into it. And then she's like, yeah. And my mom's famous. And the guy behind us is like, cool. Yeah, she's the president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. And the guy's like... Cool.
Now you've hit the big time. Did Zoe tell him you were also an insider?
She didn't say that I was mad
Zoe,
at insider.
Come on, Zoe. Mommy's also an insider.
We'll get her that. So the guy, oh, cool. And then she looks at the guy and she goes, are you in love with my mom? And the guy's like, And like, luckily at that point I had like swiped my card and we were ready to go. So then I pull her aside. I'm like, that is so inappropriate, Zoe. And she's like, it is? Everybody's in love with you. I'm like, Zoe, I'm not famous.
You have to have the conversation about the difference between love and in love.
Oh my God.
Everybody loves Bergie. Not everybody's in love.
The guy behind the checkout line doesn't love Bergie. The guy behind the checkout line doesn't even know Bergie.
Well, you don't know. I mean, he was standing behind you in line for a while. He might have, some people fall in love very quickly,
Anyways. So if you have ever been out there, you're watching this and my daughter has like pulled you aside and said, my mom's famous. She runs the chamber. I'm sorry. That is not me putting her up to that.
Sure, it's not. Sure. I wonder who's telling Zoe that you're famous.
Well, at school, I guess some of the teachers have joked around. So and Zoe thinks she's famous. She's like, we're famous. Like she thinks she's famous too. I'm like,
during
none
COVID,
of us are famous.
She used to imitate you during COVID, doing Zoom meetings.
Yes.
And hi, I'm Danielle from the chamber.
Yes, she did do that.
So, anyway, hey, you got some funny kid stories out there, right? Send them to us, Inside Lowell. Talk to us on our Facebook page when we put this podcast out there. Talk to us on the YouTube channel. We want to share your funny kid stories as well. Hell, we could probably do an entire podcast.
We have to get Paige Rourke on this.
Stories.
Ryan Rourke started Paige.
Oh, she already has a name for her podcast.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I forget. Oh, Ryan, what was the name of the...
We saw them at Frobee's the other day, and we were talking about how she needs to do a podcast.
Her and Milo could do a killer
hysterical.
podcast, by the way. I have to find out what darn it. This is what happens when I delete my old texts, because then I lose them all, and I need the ones that I'm saving for evidence. But
yes. Okay. Anyways,
Anyway, Ryan Rourke's, what is he, 12 years old? Not even.
she's
right?
in 4th grade, so no. I mean,
Yeah,
Zoe's
that's
in
cool.
3rd and 9, so 10.
Yeah, so she's 10, 11-year-old daughter is going to do a podcast. And she has more political common sense than half
God,
the people
she's hysterical.
in our city. So we're going to get her a podcast. I don't want to, kids, Art Linkletter made a killing out of a book called Kids Say the Darndest Things. So
They say and write the darndest things.
a kids podcast. Let's get on it with the Lowell Public Schools.
Inside Lowell kids.
Talk to your buddy Joel.
I will talk to my
I can't
buddy.
believe you're meeting with the school superintendent and not with me.
I meet with you. I meet with you all the time.
That he's meeting with you, but not with me. Like, Dr. Boyd, it's what happened? We were besties, weren't
Well,
we?
you have to have him on the podcast. You have to start getting all the political,
Yeah.
and non-political people on the podcast.
We'll have to drag his derriere in here, especially since Mrs. Boyd, we know now, loves our podcast.
Yeah, she's been reading Inside Lowell.
So, anyway, that's about it. We've done. How long have we gone here? Close to 50 minutes.
Long enough. My nose is running. I'm choking.
You lived up to the title
The
of
Hot
this
Mess
segment.
Express.
The Hot
Yes.
Mess Express.
If
Danielle
people
McFadden.
didn't know me before, they know me now by watching this.
Yes, they do. Insider, president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. I won't call you Madame Insider because that,
Please don't.
You got too much flack for that.
Please don't.
Over the last week. So you're just Insider.
Sure.
Danielle. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And all of the McFadden and Bergeron family. My favorite holiday. I hope it is for you guys.
And
as
one
well.
more plug for City of Lights.
One more plug for the City of Lights Parade. Danielle and I will be emceeing it. Stop on down into downtown Lowell if you can't, or even if you're there, watch some of it on your phone. If you're not at the reviewing stand, we'll be live streaming it from the reviewing stand on our website, InsideLowell.com, on Facebook, and of course on our YouTube channel. Thank you one more time to all of our sponsors: Spectacle Live, the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, IBEW 2321, Real Estate Ray Booton, Lowell Lock and Key, the Mill City Festival Fund, which is helping present the City of Lights Parade, Phil Tebow Architect, Unitas Community Center, the Merrimack Valley Wi-Fi Pro, Christopher's Tummy too. We can get Christopher's Tummy
Arguably.
to be a sponsor. The Stones Hospitality Group, and of course, thank you to all of you for helping make Inside Lowell a success beyond our wildest imaginations. Over 8,000 unique users, viewers on our website, over 30,000 individuals reached on our Facebook pages. Ding, ding, ding. Toot our own horn. For Madame President and for everybody here at Inside Lowell. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Stay safe, would you?